Ow, mother. Hey everybody, welcome back to Part Out, where we talk about off-road rigs and accessories. Today is part 2 of the build series for the cheapest Jeep Wrangler JK Rubicon. And I am thrilled because we have a ton of parts coming in, and we are just gonna start ripping this Jeep apart and just building it up to being this awesome weekend rock crawler vehicle. So let's go ahead and catch you guys up. All right, so I want to catch you guys up on all the things that we've done to this Jeep already since part 1 of the build series. We found a few other things that we had to get addressed. I mean, primarily the first thing was the windshield. We got the windshield replaced because it was, well, broken and, you know, getting pulled over by the police saying, hey, your windshield sucks. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of know.
You smell something, Rabbit?
Fear. Then the next thing we tried to figure out was every time we shifted into 4-wheel drive, there was a grinding, clanking sound going on that was just driving me nuts, and I could not figure out what was going on with it. Initially, I thought it was the U-joints in the axle, and we ripped the axles apart to get the shafts out, and you know, obviously checked the U-joints there, and lo and behold, the U-joints were fine. They were actually really in good shape. That being said, we still smashed the crap out of them to get them out of the axle shafts, and so we kind of destroyed the U-joints in the process. So we've got brand new U-joints in the axle, and still had the grinding, clanking problem going on until we finally figured out that it was the front drive shaft, our Zeppa joint, or Zeppa.
Okay, don't hurt yourself.
The joint that goes from the back end of the front drive shaft into the transfer case. The whole boot in there was torn, and a bunch of dirt and grime got in there, and eventually just started grinding like crazy. And if we left that unattended, it would probably eventually seize up and turn the front drive shaft into a pretzel.
Pretzel day? Well, I like pretzel day.
Randomly decided to change out the taillights that are kind of dirty right now. We'll clean that up. A buddy of mine bought them. They weren't working on his Jeep, and I was like, yeah, I'll take them. So we just threw them on there. It took about all of 10 seconds, and we were good to go. Aside from a few minor things that we addressed, like ripping the rest of the carpet out, I managed to drive the Jeep here into the garage with a really, really bad snowstorm going on, so I get to work on a nice wet floor. These factory AEV bumpers have like 20-something bolts and screws that are tying this thing into the frame, so I'm gonna be in a world of hurt. Thankfully, I've got my trusty tools here. I've got my Milwaukee impacts, a hammer, PB blaster, and then if, you know, when all else fails, we're gonna torch it. We're gonna torch it good. That was a little close to my freaking head. So I noticed something kind of interesting with the Warn winch that came with this Jeep. This Warn winch was a factory option with the AEV package back in 2010, and I'm noticing that the steel cable in there has never been moved. It is a perfect spool as if it came from the factory. I found the controller, and I'm gonna see if this Warn winch will still work after 10 plus years of just sitting, doing nothing. So, and I'm pretty sure this cable is gonna be all seized up. So this will be interesting. I'm hoping this Warn winch works. Obviously, I'm not keeping the steel cable, so why not? Let's try it. And this cable looks like it's never even been touched, or the controller. It still even has the plastic seal over the instructions. Yep, this has never been touched. Did not make this easy to plug in. Ow, mother, come on. Oh my God. That's got to be on there. Okay, I can't even get the disengage lever to turn, so that's a great start. It doesn't help that it's sunk into the bumper, so you can't actually get a hand on it. Oh my gosh, it works. Okay, get the Jeep started. Oh, that's neat though. They put a little flashlight at the bottom of the handle that you can turn on and off. Still nothing. That is what we call a dead winch. Honestly, I would have been surprised. I don't know of any manufacturer where this would have worked, given the circumstances of this vehicle. So I'm happily going to buy a new Warn winch and call it a day, but that's a bummer. Let's attempt to take this bumper apart. Buy a Jeep. It's totally cool. It's fun. So I'm trying to get a little creative because I don't have a plasma torch. I don't really have any saws. I do have a grinder, which helps me cut things up a little bit. But I am having a hard time getting these front bolts off here. And, well, I decided to figure out if this little cap here was metal or plastic. It turns out it's plastic, and fire melts plastic. So I'm trying to go ahead and melt that all off there. Cut those bolt heads off, or grind them down to their, to the studs. And in the process, obviously, I'm taking out a nice fog light. So this is probably making a lot of people cringe that love the AEV bumpers, because these bumpers are probably the most expensive bumpers on the market. And here I am just burning them, cutting them up, doing whatever I got to do to get them off this vehicle, because we've got some really cool bumpers going on to replace them that are going to give us a lot more ground clearance. But it does kind of hurt me inside, because I think these bumpers, just this front bumper alone without the accessories, I think is about like $1,400 or $1,500. It's really on this Jeep. There's just so many bolts that are tying it together between the skid plates and the different adapters and stuff that they put on this thing. This is a nightmare, but we'll get it. We'll get her done. What are you stuck on? Okay. What is holding you up? It's not that bracket. The winch from the battery, and the wires are running down this way and down and around to the side, and I am just having a hard time accessing where to grab and pull the wires through. And I think what's in my way is this guy here, so kind of move it out of my way like that. It's fine. Yeah, I can clearly see how to get to my wires now. This is good stuff, guys. Oh boy, there's a lot more rust back there. We're gonna go ahead and work on the rear bumper now, because that's what we gotta do. We have made some sort of visible progress. So the tailgate here can now open freely and stuff with one hand instead of using your entire body weight to yank on it. All of the bolts for the rear bumper, similar to the front bumper, don't want to come out of the Jeep. We have 6 bolts to go and the rear bumper comes off. Once all this old crap comes off, putting the new stuff on, fingers crossed, should be pretty easy. There we go. Not messing around today. Got it.
Pop out just like that. So now I'm gonna go
visit my buddy Jordan over at his shop because I cannot for the life of me get these last 4 bolts out on the rear bumper. So we're gonna go over there and we'll be done with the first part of the crappy part of disassembling this Jeep. What's going on, Big Daddy?
Oh, what's up?
I got a camera pointed at you.
Yeah, right.
Today is Valentine's Day, and who else would I spend it with other than Jordan here?
That's right.
You could be spending it with your girlfriend.
My woman, but no, I'm here with Nate. You know, next time you bring this here, Nate, how will you wash it?
Yeah, that just takes more character. You know, you become a stronger. You're just a stronger person for this.
That's what they say.
Okay, so we've got all the bolts out of the rear bumper, and now we're going to try something a little questionable on how to get the bumper off because the rust is still holding it to the frame pretty tight.
Bend it, so it'll bolt in it. Dang it! Right here. Nice. That's stupid.
There's no way you could have got that.
No.
What the problem is. Not damage the frame. So we got that going for us. Now that I finally have the original armor off of the Jeep, I wanted to change gears for a second and give some attention to the interior of the Jeep. I found a unique dash bar mount from Vector Offroad to help me hold my phone, GoPro mounts, also mount other accessories that I want to get down the road. It set me back like $200, but space is pretty hard to come by in a Jeep, and I think this is going to help me out in the long run. Next, I picked up a set of grab bars for the A-pillars of the Jeep to help get myself in and out of the vehicle, and this is going to be really helpful, especially when the new suspension system goes on with the bigger tires. I'm still undecided on what I want to do with the seats, but for now, I'll cover up the rips and tears with some neoprene seat covers to help clean things up a bit. This episode probably wasn't the most exciting thing to watch, but again, this build series is to help show you what goes into buying a cheaper Jeep Wrangler, and that you more than likely can't just jump right into the fun stuff with off-road parts. Make sure you stick around for part 3 of this build series as we tear apart and install what is probably the greatest bolt-on suspension system money can buy for the Jeep Wrangler JK.